Okay, this is a story about holes in the road and the human heart. And it came out of a time in my life that was really filled with meaning for myself. It was when I was a missionary in Honduras with my family, my wife June and our 2 children. We were all down there together, and I was serving at an orphanage. I happened to have the care of the place at the time to a degree, and I had the only vehicle that the ministry had because the couple that were in charge were actually in America for a month. And so maybe it was 4 months. So I'm driving around. I'm loving this. I'm driving around in Tegucigalpa, city of 1 million people. And I just love being on the road overseas. I don't know what it is. It's Toad's Wild Ride or something from The Wind in the Willows. But there I am driving and dodging potholes to China on this one particular road back to our house. And I made what I call a cheap prayer. I said, God, can you do something about the potholes? I mean, you know me. I'm trying to be attentive, but I'm not that attentive a driver, and I just might hit one of these, and I'll wreck the car, and I can't. It's the only car the ministry has. So it was a truck. It was a heavy-duty truck. Can't afford to lose it. Could you fill in those potholes? And I said right away, I know that's a cheap prayer. And the reason it was is because Honduras is the second poorest country in North America at the time. This is 1986 to 87. The whole time we were there, I only saw 1 or 2 road crews just doing a little bit of construction in Tegucigalpa, but it was going very, very slow. The whole time we were there, I only saw 2 building projects actually finished. I mean, this is the people that were broken down and they didn't have a lot to invest in maintaining what was already there. And I just thought, how but for God can this happen? I just followed the prayer and drove on and forgot about it. A week later, I'm going down the same road. I'm not even paying attention to the road particularly. I don't know what I'm thinking about. And then I started feeling the Holy Spirit tapping me on the shoulder and this beaming presence of the Lord next to me going like, son, what do you think? What do you think about the road? I'm going like, what do you mean? The road. Oh, the road. The road? The potholes are gone. You filled in the potholes. How did that happen? I've never seen that happen down there. You filled in the potholes. And immediately I had another prayer sprung out of me unpremeditated, because it's kind of like if you feel like you've got God on the line successfully and he's answering a difficult prayer and he's showing up, and then you want to just like give him the whole laundry list, right? So maybe you've been there with me, and there I'm sitting and I'm saying, wow, you're answering that prayer. Now, what about the holes in my wife's heart? Because we had just come down to Honduras maybe a month or 2 before, and culture shock and the blows of being in ministry with friction with some others had just damaged my wife's heart, and she was hurt, she was sunk, what we were later to identify as the reemergence of 20 years of depression began again right then. And oh my goodness, I just had such a care that she would be set free from this. And I'd been trying to coach her, but nothing that I was doing was helping. And so I said, Lord, well, can you fill in those holes in my wife's heart? Just like this, just like this. Sometimes you hear unmistakably back from the Lord. And I heard the words form inside of me. It's easy to get people to work on a road. It's hard to get them to work on their heart. And I understood the issue. All of us are reluctant to carry our heart to God. All of us are reluctant to really let go of the things that we know we need to let go of. We don't know how, and many times in not knowing how, we've tried and we've failed, and it just seemed like a bad job, and we'd given up on it. Actually, there were these monks that went into the desert of Egypt in the 3rd century after Rome became Christian, and they really wanted to be the spiritual athletes, the one that would live for God, that would just really set a blazing trail in the spiritual life. And one of them went and looked up a desert father who'd been there a lot longer, and he said, what is the true spiritual athlete like? What is the one who's really living flat out for God? That was their phrase, the spiritual athlete. And this desert father said, the spiritual athlete is the one who's willing to go down into his own heart and do battle there. You know, Proverbs 4:23 says, keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life. And there really are so many things in our heart that we need to grapple with to get them cleared out of the way so that the peace and the joy that are meant to be there, that childlike experience of life that's meant to be there, can actually become ours. Why don't you come to our website, healingstreamsusa.org, and see what we have there. We'd love to show you more about the ways of the heart.